it's like that Monday like slump that's like, here we go, another Monday. And I love being with you guys because it just definitely re-energizes me and just being here and then practicing with you and just our conversations back and forth. But we'll do some yoga, some stretching, and some movements this evening. So I hope everyone's doing really well. We'll get right down to it and get into setting the mood, setting our pace, setting our intentions for this evening. Right away, you can join me in coming into a seat of your choice, whether it's crisscross applesauce. You can have your legs out. You can come on your shins. You can even come right on your back, whatever works for you tonight. You can also have your eyes soft or completely closed if you like. I'll keep my eyes open at all times, but this just may give you an idea to really get into your practice, get into that mode. So as we're here on our mats physically, maybe mentally you might be somewhere else, whether you came from work or another activity, running errands, maybe you were in traffic, something else that's kind of, you're catching up mentally. So see if you can bring your mind here along with your physical self. Really start to tune into your body. We can start by deepening the breath, focusing on the inhales and the exhales at natural pace. We'll start by taking a deep breath through the nasal passages, getting that nice fresh oxygen into the body. And exhale that warm, stale air away from the body. So we'll come in and out just like that. You're in this studio. We have a couple windows open. It's a beautiful summer evening, so we're really getting that fresh air. Just taking a moment to get that pace going, your natural pace for tonight. As you start to deepen the breath, I invite you to start taking a head to toe body scan, just checking in and seeing how you're feeling this evening, whether you're feeling more sluggy and lethargic, maybe you are needing to move around a little bit more. Do you have any ongoing injuries that you need to take care of and be mindful of throughout class? All these types of things. As we start to take our full body scan, maybe you start to tune into the senses around you. It's a shared space, so I know different voices, different movements going on, also what's going on outside, cars passing by, trains, birds, all those other external things that you may think about through practice. If you like, I will hold space if you want to set an intention for this evening's practice, if you have a dedication, if you have a mantra, a set of words that you like to keep in your head as a repetition going through our practice, you can continue that little mantra, that set of words. It could be as simple as one breath at a time. It could be as simple as inhale and exhale. You're saying that in your mind. And of course, you can just come back to the breath. If you become a little distracted, maybe you're feeling challenged, even bored, it happens. All those things. just keeping that mindful part of our yoga class. Take a couple more breaths here in our opening. We'll start to move very gently, as we always do. We're never just gonna start throwing different poses into the body. We just want to start warming up. So you can feel free to have your eyes open. You can keep them soft or closed, whatever works for you. We'll start by bringing some movement to the neck. So we're typically going to work our way down, starting with the neck. If you'd like, you can bring head turns left and right, gently coming over to the left, and then coming back to center, over to the right, and keeping the breath flowing as we're taking these movements. Maybe you start to notice if you're feeling really tense in the neck. I know actually a lot of us do, just hearing feedback, and you might not even realize how tense you are as we are coming into these head turns and you're noticing some stiffness. Just breathe into the movement, seeing where you're resisting. Maybe each time you come around, you gently bring the chin a little bit further past that shoulder or towards that shoulder, and seeing with the other side. And I know a lot of it too could be your ergonomic situation, being at a desk if you work at a desk, being at a computer, also driving too, having your eyes facing forward, or even sleeping, depending on your sleeping patterns. You could definitely prefer one side over the other if you're a side sleeper or a stomach sleeper. So all these things can really add that tension to the neck. We can start to bring some more movements here, perhaps up and down, chin up towards the sky and all the way back down towards the chest. So there's a difference between knowing that you have some tension in the neck or some stiffness, and if you have a neck injury. If you have a neck injury, just be careful, maybe refraining from some of these poses, just being careful. And we just want to make sure that we're not whipping the head back and forth. All these movements are going to be slow and smooth and steady. You can start bringing a full round circle with the head and the neck if you like. And just making sure you're not throwing that head back. Couple more rounds here. Land back through center after you complete whatever movement you're on. Great. Okay, so you work with the neck a little bit. The shoulders are next. Generally, we want to keep the shoulders away from the ears, so creating that space between the ears and the shoulders. I know a lot of us sometimes, especially when you're feeling tense, you can naturally bring those shoulders up. For right now, keeping the shoulders down. But for the purpose of this exercise, we're going to bring the shoulders up on the inhale, and through the exhale, pressing the shoulders together like you're squeezing a line between your shoulder blades and then drawing them down. So we'll come through a full circle with our shoulder circle. So inhale up, exhale, together, back and down. And your hands can either stay on your thighs. Sometimes I end up doing this like finger lacing thing, or just keeping my hands together just for sake of keeping things consistent, but whatever works for you. Working through the breath, opening up the chest a little bit. 2 more rounds. Okay, next set, we're going to come up, forward, and down. So the opposite way of our shoulder rolls. Sending the breath through the back as you're opening up. Two more. Excellent. And we'll be right back in neutral with our shoulders down. Okay, so moving on, we're going to get some spinal movement here. We'll take some twists. Right off the bat, we'll get a nice tall spine here. So inhale, bringing arms up, and on the exhale, we'll bring the left hand to the right knee, the right hand back for support, and we'll twist over to the right. If you're in studio, over to the door. So if you're sitting on something, I am sitting on a prop. You don't have to. For me, it definitely helps get that length in my spine, but you can adjust as needed, whether for this you need to sit on something or you need to take it away from you. Yogi's choice on that one. To keep your spine nice and tall, think about pressing the sits bones into the floor. So the sits bones, the knobby parts underneath the flesh of your glutes, pressing into the floor. On the inhale, lengthening the spine, so pressing into the floor with your bottom and bringing yourself up nice and tall. And on the exhale, twisting over to the right. So that's another little mantra that you can use. Inhale, lengthen, exhale, twist. 3 more breaths. Last one here. And exhale, unraveling the spine. We'll take it to the other side. Again, inhale, arms up overhead. Exhale, right hand, left knee, left hand back for support. Twisting over to the left, over toward the windows if you are in studio. And remember, we're almost likely not to be identical on either side as we're coming in with our body, one side and the other side. So just checking in and seeing how one side feels compared to the other side. Maybe you're feeling a little bit tighter, or maybe even a little bit more stronger. It definitely is possible. 2 more breaths here. Last one. Exhale, coming back through center, taking your time. We'll bring our hands out towards me, and we're just going to get some wrist and finger stretches in, really kind of free form movement. You can start by bringing twists to the wrist or circles or some flicks, just starting to awaken the small joints and tendons in the hands, because later on we'll be on our hands and knees. So just getting to activate that. All right. Coming back down, we'll start moving down the body a little bit more. We'll get some leg stretches in. I'm going to come off my prop for this one. So still in a seated position, we will take an asymmetrical hamstring stretch. So we'll start by bringing the right leg out. The left leg can just hang tight. You can either have it towards your right thigh, or you can have it out, whatever is comfortable for you. We're going to really be stretching this first leg. So inhale, creating that length in the spine. Exhale, hinging with the hips, using your core to bringing your chest to the knee. And of course, the goal is not to touch the toes. So if you're not there, not a problem. Just noticing where you feel it the most. That's the true part of the goal, is getting a stretch in. But we definitely want to keep our toes flexed as best as possible. This will help ease up on that knee a little bit. So as we are getting that hamstring stretch on that right side. We'll take 3 more deep breaths. On that last inhale, exhale, coming back up, using our midsection to bring ourselves there. And now we'll take it to the left side. So left leg extending out, right leg can do its thing. Inhale, lengthen over the left, or overhead, exhale over that left leg. Just checking in, seeing how this side compares to that first side that we just did. Two more breaths. Last one. Exhale, coming back up and taking your time, we're going to topple over onto our hands and knees. So getting ourselves prepared for our tabletop position. Keeping any props that you might want kind of by an arm's reach. And if you're at home, you definitely do not need a block. Everything is optional. I like props because they can assist in different poses, but if you don't have one, that's okay too. If you're at home, you can definitely use a paper towel roll. It's about the height of a block and it can be versatile, the same as a block. So right off the bat, we'll come into our tabletop. So remember we talked about those finger stretches, awakening the fingertips and the wrists. So we want to press into all finger pads, the upper knuckles, and creating a little suction between the palm and the floor. Beautiful. Also keeping in mind the shoulders over the wrists, the hips over the knees, and we want to activate our core as well. So we don't need to necessarily build muscle, but to keep what we have using our muscles, engaging our core to help protect our back before any weight bearing poses. So we'll start with some spinal fluctuations, our cat-cow pose. On the inhale, we'll draw the shoulders back as we tilt the pelvis, bringing our gaze forward. And on the exhale, rounding the spine as you tuck your pelvis, almost like you're pushing the mat away. Now we'll start to match the movement with breath. So through the inhale, our cow, and exhale, cat. And now you're off and you can come into your own flow, which might not match my flow, which might not match your neighbors, but just like an ocean, we have different waves going on, different paces. So just focusing on your practice. Once you start to get the hang of it, getting your flow on, maybe you start to challenge your spine to move one vertebra at a time, even if it's just using your mind's eye to bring that space between each part of the back rather than just thinking of it as one whole piece. So if you've ever heard motion is lotion, it's so true. Keeping the back nice and fluid helps prevent any injuries and just overall a healthy spine. I'll take a couple more rounds here in our cat-cow. One more. And we'll land back in our tabletop, finishing whatever one you're on. Great. So we'll start to shift our weight over to the left to free up our right hand. On the next inhale, we'll reach that right arm up to the sky, threading the needle. On the exhale, sweeping that hand underneath that left. So even if it feels like you're not really doing anything here, you can start to press the back of that right wrist into the mat, into the floor. This is called an isometric movement. So we're still building strength here, but we're not necessarily moving anything. We're contracting the muscles around the bone, maybe you start to feel the stretch a little bit more, go ahead and send your breath to that open space. 3 more breaths. And finishing up that last exhalation, we'll start to bring ourselves up and reaching that right arm to the sky one more time and then sending it back home. Fantastic. Okay, so we're off to the other side. Shifting over to the right, inhale, left arm comes up, and exhale. And remember, you don't have to bring that head to the floor, especially if it's not available to you. You can make use of what you do have around you. If you would like to deepen the stretch and getting that head down, you can use your right grip fist. Make a fist with your right hand to create a little pillow. You can also make use of a block to deepen the stretch as well, whether it's under your head or under that wrist too. So we have a few different variations that we can take with thread the needle. We'll take 2 more breaths. Last one here. And exhale, pressing back into the right. Inhale, left arm comes up one more time, and then sending it back home. Fantastic. All right. So from here, we're just going to widen the knees and send the hips back towards the heels, reaching forward. Maybe the head comes to the floor, the mat. If not, no worries. Again, we can make use of a prop to get ourselves there. But we're in a child's pose. So this is a great way to just connect with the earth. In yoga, we consider it a resting pose. So at any time you ever need to just take a minute to yourself, you can always come back here. And to be honest, you can stay here the entire class and that's still yoga, and I would not mind. Actually, I would definitely applaud if you are listening to your body and you're just knowing that that's what you need to do this evening. So as we're here in our child's pose, we'll take a few more deep breaths. This is also a really great way to decompress the spine. So we're lengthening as we're getting that the lower half towards the heels, and then the upper body is reaching towards the front. So we're elongating the spine a little bit more, sending the breath there for 2 more breaths. Last one. And through that exhale, you can start to walk yourself back, lifting the hips, and we'll come back into our tabletop pose. Okay, so we have a little bit of a yogi's choice here. So I know that we've been working on 2 different poses, 2 different transitions, either our puppy pose or our downward dog pose. So we can either come into your puppy pose, which is very similar. It's like a hybrid between downward facing and child's pose, where you're lengthening the arms, getting a good shoulder stretch, but keeping the hips up. So you can either come into puppy pose, or if you like, you can take the full downward facing as you lift the knees, sending the hips up and back, creating that V shape of the body. So if you are in downward facing, you just want to keep the breath flowing. Maybe you start by lowering one heel at a time. If you're in puppy pose, continue breathing. With each inhale, maybe you're reaching a little bit further with your hands, getting that spine to decompress a little bit more. So we'll take 3 more breaths here in yogi's choice pose. One more. And on that exhale, we'll start to come back right into our tabletop. So if you're in downward facing, you can just lower the knees. If you're in puppy, you can start to walk the hands back. All right, from here, we're going to make our way to the top of the mat towards the hands. So not really a fancy, I don't have really a creative way to do that. So maybe you can just start by placing a foot down and then bringing the other foot to the top, and we'll land in a forward fold. So letting the upper body be nice and heavy over the legs, maybe bringing a juicy bend in the knees if you're finding yourself not really getting that collapse forward, and getting the chest to the thighs. This is also a great opportunity to bring some gratitude or a moment of appreciation to our feet. I like to spread out my toes individually, just like we did with our tabletop position. Getting that balance, it helps with balance. So letting each part of the sole of the foot that's touching the mat really press into the floor. A couple more breaths here, or you can also press on the tops of the feet. On the next inhale, we'll sweep up to a halfway lift. And exhale, using our core, hinging with the hips, coming back down. Inhale again, lifting ourselves just halfway. And exhale, forward fold. Great job. Okay. On the next inhale, really pressing into the soles of the feet, lifting yourself up as you come up, rising with the sun, and coming down into our mountain pose. Okay, excellent. Everyone looks really good. Just a little reminder as we're coming through our little checklist here, we want to make sure that we're pressing into both soles of the feet. We also want to be in tune with our hips, making sure they're not pressing forward. A posterior and anterior tilt with our hips. We just want them neutral, and we want to keep our shoulders down away from the ears. Excellent. With each breath, maybe you continue, you can imagine yourself getting yourself nice and tall, maybe a fishing lure that's slowly bringing up, and each exhale, you're continuing to press into the soles of the feet. If you like, you can close your eyes, getting that blueprint, that visualization, so that your body auto-corrects when next time you're standing. We'll take 2 more breaths. Everyone looks fantastic. Last one. On the next inhale, we'll bring our arms up all the way overhead. Through the exhale, we'll keep that left foot forward, stepping back with that right foot. So we're in a warrior 1 pose. So pressing into both soles of the feet here. We still want to keep our hips as forward as possible, squared, keeping that knee over that ankle, and shoulders away from the wrists. Beautiful. Great job. On the next inhale, now we'll swivel out to the right to our warrior 2 pose with a quick transition of that back foot parallel to the edge of the mat. I personally like to take a wider stride from our warrior 2, so adjust as needed, but it's not a must do. It's kind of like one of those things, everyone has different strides when they walk, so it's really yogi's preference. We'll bring our gaze over that front left hand. Deep breath in and out. 2 more. Last one. On the next inhale, you can flip that front palm. Exhale, reaching back, up and back to the mirrors. Great. Reverse warrior. Our first little side bend here, breathing into that left side body for 2 more breaths. Fantastic. 1 more. And through the exhale, we'll come back through warrior 2. Okay, next set of breath. We'll start to straighten up that front leg. You can keep a micro bend. We don't need to lock it, stick straight. We'll send the hips back as our upper body comes forward, into our triangle pose. This might be another opportunity if you'd like to have a prop, a block at the inner arch of your left foot, reaching that right arm to the sky here in our triangle pose. With each inhale, we'll see if you can use your mind's eye to revolve that shoulder back. And the exhale, you're continuing to press into the soles of the feet. One more breath. And exhale, we'll cartwheel the hands down on either side of that front foot. And we'll step forward right into forward fold. But we'll take a ragdoll. And so we'll take opposite elbows, really being heavy. This is also a great time if you'd like to grab some water or just kind of recalibrate with yourself. So I'm a visual person. I know not everyone is, but just for those who are, this is a great thing to kind of think of our forward fold, our ragdoll, as if you are having a waterfall trickle over from the base of your spine over your head. That's the kind of slope that we want with our forward folds. Maybe start to bring side to side rocks here and there, getting some movements in the hips. Take a couple more breaths. Okay, go ahead and release if you have that bind. On the inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Great. Exhale, back down. Inhale, all the way up. Exhale, down, mountain pose. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, right foot stays forward, left foot back, warrior one. So we'll do the same thing that we just did on the other side. So first we have our hips square, knee over that ankle, 2 more breaths. Last one. Exhale, swivel up to the left, warrior two, adjust as needed. Excellent. You guys look fantastic. Just checking in. Gaze over that front right hand. Next breath, flipping the front palm, exhale up and back, reverse. Sending the breath to that right side body. Two more breaths. Last one. And exhale, coming back down, cartwheeling the hands. We'll start to come into our triangle pose, so straightening out that front leg, hips come back, upper body comes forward. Prop if you need it or want it. Left arm to the sky. Fantastic. 2 more breaths. Last one here. And exhale, cartwheeling the hands down on either side of that right foot. Go ahead and step forward. Okay, we're gonna slowly roll ourselves up 1 vertebra at a time. Nice and easy to get there. Not forgetting the neck, also part of the spine. And we're here at the top of the mat. Okay. So on the next inhale, we'll bring our arms up all the way overhead. Now we'll take a bind. So we'll bring our right hand over the left wrist. We'll take a little side bend over to the left. So you can even gently pull that left wrist away, bringing that shoulder away from the socket. Side bend over to the right. 2 more breaths. Last one. Exhale, coming back through center, we'll go ahead and reverse left hands or left fingers over the right wrist. Inhale, side bend over to the right. So we don't want to shoot that right hip out to the side. We're still keeping it neutral. We're just moving the upper body. Excellent. Great. 2 more breaths. Last one. Exhale, coming back through center. Nice inhale, baby back bend. Just a little micro back bend, bringing your chest up to the sky. And exhale, coming forward. Go ahead and release. Shake it out. Fantastic. Okay, so we're here at the top of the mat. I'm not at the top of the mat, I'm gonna face here. So we're gonna come into some balancing poses, get your props if needed. And we'll take our triangle pose. Okay, so it's not triangle pose, our tree pose. So I have 2 options, you guys. So, you know, for the most part, we do the same poses, right? But if you want to try something a little different, if you're ready for something else, you can come into our eagle pose. So eagle pose is very similar. I'll demo it, and then you can either choose to do it with me, or you can come into your tree pose. So for eagle, you are wrapping your foot around, and then wrapping the hands around, and gently starting to bend at the knee. So we're in our eagle pose, but our different variations, you can either have your toes crossed, just planted on the other side, and you can still do the eagle arms. Right over left. So right over left, you're gonna bring your arms up, and you're gonna swoop your left hand underneath that right arm, bringing both palms together. So getting a shoulder stretch as well. So pressing into the hands together. And so we're in our eagle, which is already a balance. So if you like, you can start. If you want to, you can take that full bend, that full eagle. But I know that we're on a soft mat, so this might not be the opportunity for that right now. But this is where we can go. So you can practice with it, play around with it. You guys are doing great though for for a new thing. So we can play around. We'll start on this side first. So swiveling that right foot around, left hand under. Love it. That's doing great. A couple more breaths here. And if you just want to do tree pose, we can just do tree pose too. All right, go ahead. Excellent, you did it, fantastic. Love it. So just a little bit, switching things up, you know, yogi's choice, whatever you feel like doing, but I thought I would put that offer on the table. Okay, so now we'll come to the other side. So it's still the same thing. We're going to bring the left ankle crossing over that right ankle. But having your arms out, now we're going to swoop that right hand underneath and bringing the arms together. So eagle pose on this side. You have your different variations. And I know that we've also incorporated the block with our tree pose for some people here that like doing that. You could definitely do that with the eagle pose as well. So don't take it seriously, you know, we're playing, it's just another pose. Love it, love it, love it, excellent. Everyone has their different variations going on. Very playful. We'll take 2 more breaths. Last one. Exhale, go ahead and release. I know. I threw a curveball on that. I know we're not used to that. You guys dealt with it, you did it, and I'm very proud of you. All right to it. We're gonna get some spinal twists in here, just getting nice and heavy. Also a moment to, again, be playful with the practice. You can, luckily we have that space to really helicopter those arms. You can start to slow down, little micro twists until it's really just your hands coming back and forth. And then we end up right next to you, nice and loose. Great. Okay, so we're here at the top of the mat. You guys are. I'm just getting to the top of the mat. On our next inhale, we'll bring our arms up all the way overhead. Exhale, hinging forward, forward fold, but this time we're going to plant our hands down and we'll start to deconstruct our pose. So we'll start to bring the knees down and we will take a child's pose. So bringing the heels, the hips back down towards the heels, arms forward. Or a second child's pose, or maybe it's more than that for you, but just seeing how this one feels in the body. We've done so many hip openers with our warriors. We did a lot of back strengthening as well. Just seeing how this one feels right now. We'll take a little side bend here. So coming onto the tips of the fingers, we'll spider walk our hands over and off the right side, whichever side you feel like doing. Just a little side bend, just like what we did when we had our arms up over moments ago, or just moving the upper body. Breathing into that left side body, sending the breath there. Two more breaths. The last one. Exhale, coming back through center and over and off the left side, or whichever side you haven't done yet. Two more breaths here. Last one. And through that exhale, coming back through center, and we'll start to bring ourselves up. You can swivel yourself around with the legs coming out. We'll take one last forward fold. So we're in our staff pose, that L shape with the body, using your core to keep yourself elevated. On the inhale, lengthening the spine, and exhale, hinging with the hips, using our core to bring ourselves over our legs. And the goal, you don't have to touch your feet. You do. Maybe today, this journey today, you're just at your knees or your shins or your ankles. That's all okay. Take it day by day, what your body's telling you right now. One last breath here in our final forward fold. And exhale, we'll come back up through our staff pose and make our way right onto our back. If you're looking for one little extra something, you can always do this when you have to just wait for me to say it. You can use your midsection to start to lower yourself back. So using your core, lower yourself nice and controlled all the way back down, laying one vertebra at a time. Okay, and we'll land with the soles of the feet on the ground. Excellent, love it. Okay, so we'll start right into our figure four pose. We'll cross the right ankle over the left knee. So remember, we have our different variations of figure four. If you'd like to stay here, that's great. If you feel like lifting that left leg, that's great. If you want to take that bind,
also an option. So again, getting another little hip opener. Just see how this is feeling in the body. If you took that bind, maybe you start thinking about bringing that thigh towards the chest. And of course, it doesn't have to touch, but just leaning it towards your chest as you muscularly push away that right knee. 2 more breaths here. Last one. Exhale, go ahead and release that bind. We'll keep our ankle crossed over and transition into a twist. So letting that sole of the foot cross over, aiming towards the left side of the mat, or even touching it. We're all gonna have different poses going on, right into our twist. If you have another variation of your supine spinal twist that you'd like to take, by all means. Another variation is bringing both knees over to the left side. Take whatever works for you tonight. These twists are excellent any time of the day, any part of practice, but they really do help with digestion. I typically like doing them towards the end of class. They help move lymphatic fluid to the larger organs and vascular system to help naturally detoxify the body. 1 more breaths here on this side. Heads up nice and easy, being delicate with your spine. Switch out the legs, so crossing left over right. In our figure form side. And this one might look different, this whatever variation you decide to take, and that's okay. Realizing that you don't have to judge yourself for it. It's okay to listen to the body. Two more breaths here. Last one. Go ahead, release that bind. You can keep that ankle crossed over, coming right into your twist. And I'm going to touch it on the other side. You can have your arms down by your side, or you can have them in full post arms, 90-degree angles at the elbows. Have them up overhead, to whatever works for you to get that little extra stretch. Two more. Last one. So release, you can untangle the legs, give a little windshield wiper back and forth to neutralize the spine after those twists. And we made it to the end of class. If there's any other postures or poses that you'd like to come into before we come into our final rest, now is the time of the release choice. And of course, you can come right into the final and maybe even the best pose, like Shavasana. It's definitely arguable, but if you're looking to move, if you still need to wiggle out some stuff, you're not quite sure where to go, you can come into some great posing postures. You can come into the Supta Baddha Konasana, our refined butterfly pose. You can have the soles of the feet together, the knees out. You can also come into happy baby, so bringing the soles of the feet towards the ceiling, reaching for the inner arches, and you start to rock side to side, just like a newborn baby that just discovered its feet. And if you do have your prop with you, you can make use of that as well. You can place a block underneath your sacrum by lifting the hips up, bringing a block underneath. You can get a restorative bridge pose. It might feel good on the back. And from here, you can also play around with some inversions, getting the legs up overhead, that reverse blood flow. Just hanging out here for a couple breaths. Two more breaths in your yogi's choice. Wherever you are, we'll start to release, coming into our final pose. You're already in Shavasana, when you're there, getting yourself nice and comfortable. You can start by lengthening all your limbs, taking one last body scan, head to toe. Just checking with yourself, releasing all of your facial muscles, coming to neutral, bringing a space between your upper and lower jaw, letting the tongue rest over the mouth, unclenching your tummy, releasing the shoulders away from the ears. Complete stillness and softness. Shavasana. Start to come back to the present, reawakening the body, maybe bringing small movements to the fingers and the toes. If you like, you can reach up overhead for a big good morning stretch. We'll take one last collective breath together. Inhale through the nose and sighing it out. Taking your time, you can make your way over to a favorite side to press yourself up. And you can join me coming into a close tip together. Everyone did a fantastic job. I know I threw some weird poses out there. You did so great. Thank you so much for coming and practicing with me. I love being here with you all, and it means so much that you're coming and hanging out with me on this Monday night. The light within me honors, shines, respects, and encourages the light within each and every one of you. I bow and say namaste. Thank you.